wants to tame me. You can't catch me on the run, cause I'm gone, yeah. I blaze trails, set fire to what's behind me. No, I'm never looking back, I'm on the run. I could only ever be what I'm made to be. It feels good when I'm living on the edge. Watch me now, roll like thunder, gonna shake the ground. Can't stop me now, I don't give up and I won't back down. I'm a force of nature, can't be contained. I got lightning running all through my veins. Watch me now, watch me now.
Hi, I'm Wyatt Milam. I'm from Canova, West Virginia. When I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Parmar store.
We have that gold and blue pride at your local Parmar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more, we are gold and blue proud, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Northern Eagle Distributing, proudly serving Anheuser-Busch products to West Virginia. The WolfMan's Call Network welcomes Calacino's Pizzeria and Sports Bar from Beckley, West Virginia. The Pitch, Sports Bar and Grille, Dunbar, West Virginia. And Danny's Bar from Princeton, West Virginia. Only at these fine establishments can you enjoy the WolfMan's Call. Join. Yes, and hello, my friends, and welcome to the WolfMan's Call. I call it a big old thick dog Thursday, man, because we got a lot going on today, a lot of good stuff. But you know what? I really wanted to go and get this. I've been having some videos, some stories I want to talk about, just some things I want to get to before I bring in our first guest today, which is Tim Aydin from Penn State, Black Shoe Diaries. Yeah, he's a Penn State guy, he's a Penn State blogger, but he knows his stuff and he knows the team. And again, just like I'm talking about with Pitt, he'll talk his Pitt yesterday, man. You know, friends close, but get your enemies closer. Know what they're doing, know what's going on. Don't walk in there with your head up your rear end. If you know what I'm talking about, know what's going around, know what's coming down the pipeline for you, because that's what's important. And what's coming down the pipeline here, of course, will be this, and that is the WolfMan's Call Network, Archies, right there at East Carson Street in Pittsburgh, Route 22 in Weirton, West Virginia. You got Calacino's down at Beckley. You got Cantrell's River City Grill Pub in Hinton, West Virginia. Right on the river, man. Really cool. And Legends out there, Cheat Leg with Gizzy, man. Hit the links. Watch the WolfMan's Call at Legends Sports Bar and Grill. We got Danny's in Princeton down there. Really cool. Just added them this week, as you just heard. Kegler's Royalty. Jerry Lorenz, Dougie, Steve, Greg, I love you all, man. Boom, that's my guys, right? And, of course, Steve Reese, my guy, too, Mason Jar Saloon, Hot Spot, and Hot Spot right there in Morgantown. And then you go down to Fairmont, you have the Mason Jar Barbecue and more. Big shout-outs to them. And you got Jimbo's Place in Elkins. So good, he had to open up one in Buckhannon. Shout out there. What's up? And we got Brickside Bar Girl. Rob Davis, man, one of the originals in the whole network down there at Brickside Bar and Grill, Eat Local. And the Pitch in Dunbar, brand new this week. So happy to have them, because, man, it is a cool joint down there. Getting that southern West Virginia. We're starting to get there, man. We're taking over, right? And then, of course, we have the Pallet. And what's cool about the Pallet and the big news that I've been wanting to go ahead and talk about, and that is this. And I'm going to make this a lot bigger right here and make it cool so we can get up there and see it. All right. WolfMan's Call, WVU versus Penn State football pregame show, September 2nd. Now, at the Pallet, it's only going to be in-house there at the Pallet. and in-house on the WolfMan's Call Network. That's right. It's not going to be on Twitter. It's not going to be on Facebook. It's only going to be there live on air, and the Voice of Football network as well. But you can see we're going to be live on air at 6 o'clock. Get there at the Pallet. I want to see you at the Pallet, man. We're going to have a good time. We're just going to hang. We're going to break down some film. We're going to talk to the people there and have a good time, man, and just rock and roll giveaways. And, of course, the WolfMan's Call is going to be there. And that means breaking down the Penn State film. Yep. Really appreciate it, man. Love our sponsors there. It's going to be cool. So, again, mark it down. September 2nd, 5 o'clock, you can start rolling into the Pallet. Rolling in. Get your craft beers. I got 24 different craft beers. You got Haley right there running the joint. You got some great servers and the girls there. And make sure you tip them down there. Big shout out. But we are live on air at 6 o'clock, and we're going to break down some film. But it's only for the WolfMan's Call Network and the Voice of College Football Network. So what does that mean? That means that if you don't have that and you want to go to your local establishment and say, hey, man, I want to be and watch the WolfMan's Call and get on the network. All they got to do is get on the network here. Email me at wolfmanscall@gmail.com. wolfmanscall@gmail.com. Big pregame. Man, you want to see Penn State? Only I can show you Penn State and dissect them and see what's coming down. And also, Tim Aydin today as well will be dissecting it, and that's pretty cool too. All right, so what I want to get into next is the Voice of College Football. I need you to go ahead and see if you can sign up. I'm really going to push this now, and the importance of it is this, is we can go ahead and get this up here because you saw Mark Rogers on earlier this week. And good dude, man, but he's got 23 different channels. They got SEC channel, ACC. This, Tony Altimore coming on today at 5 o'clock in the second hour. He's going to be on today. He's brilliant, man. He's brilliant. He knows his stuff. Just like, we got it covered here with Penn State today. We just keep going. It's the Voice of College Football Network. I need you to sign up here, man. I need you to go to the national channel. Sign up, subscribe. YouTube. How do you do it? Well, you go to YouTube and you go into the search thing and you go at West Virginia VOCFB. Do you see that? Here, let me check it up. Can you see it? There you go. YouTube search at West Virginia VOCFB. The Voice of College Football, West Virginia. So you get the Wolfman. You're going to have other shows on there, but mainly because you want to go with the Wolfman. But you know why? Because the WolfMan's Call rocks, baby. Just like we're going to rock the Pallet there on September 2nd. Excellent. Good job. All right, so I'm going to try something new here, and there's Timothy Green, and he's got it. Let's go, Munners. Here we go for another great show, 100. Yeah, man, I'm feeling that, Timmy, right? 100, baby. Yep, let's go ahead and do that, and as we go ahead, this is something new I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my videos here, and the cool thing is I also got Cover Zero videos I have, because you know why I'm going to do Cover Zero videos later on at the end of this show? It's because I think you're going to get some Cover Zero. That means bring 6 or more against West Virginia. They could be going man-free. That would be 5. But I think they're going to be going and disguising and trying to put pressure, because Garrett Green, Nico Marchio, they're both young. Why wouldn't you do that, right? If you can go ahead and bring pressure and try to go ahead and disrupt their rhythm, disrupt their thinking, it's already at Happy Valley. Just throw it on, man. They're going to throw the whole kitchen sink at you. Why would they not? Because you're young, inexperienced, either one of them. So, again, that's good stuff. So, let's go ahead and get to this videos of the week. This is just kind of what I want to do. I want to hear from you, and I want to know if you think this is good or if you think it sucks, okay? Because if it sucks, I definitely want to hear that too, because I don't want to bring it back. But this is going to start out. We're just going to go head down. I got all these videos I picked out, videos that I've liked for the last week or so, or storylines, and it's so cool. So here we go.
And then the fifth.
Here we go. This is Neil Brown, his press conference a couple days ago, and I like this, and I'll tell you why here after we get to it. Yep, that's right. And here we go.
Physicality piece, we're being physical. We just got to, when we go into tackle situations, we've got to do a good job of running our feet. And And it's like I was telling our team at the end, it's like, listen, guys, like, reason I'm like intense today, the reason I'm going to be intense this week is like we're not easing into this. You know, like we're not easing into this thing. Like I was sitting there yesterday and I had some downtime probably, which isn't good, so I'm watching a little Penn State and like I'm watching them on offense and like we're not easing into this. You know, so like if you don't run your feet on contact versus those three backs they got, it's going to be a long day. So
Wow. Go ahead. Now, let me say this about Neil Brown, okay? I talked about running your feet. I showed you in the film yesterday. If you got to watch the Oklahoma State film, right, I showed you that they weren't bringing their feet, right? They were making these tackles. They were diving at ankles. They weren't running and finishing their tackles. Same thing in an offense when you're running, right? You got to break those tackles. Pop, pop, chop, 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 right? Quarterbacks, linemen, linebackers, D-line. It doesn't matter, right? Safeties, tackling, whatever it is. But the thing is this. He says, we're being physical. And he goes, I told the guys this week, well, I'm going to be intense today, and I'm going to be intense this week. You know what? I like that Neil Brown, man. I like that Neil Brown. And I'm saying, you be intense. You go, Neil Brown, head coach. Be intense every day for them on that because that's what they need. Because after watching that film yesterday again at Oklahoma State, made me realize how much intensity they need. And you're right, on. You're spot on, brother. But keep it up. It's not just intense today, yesterday, tomorrow, every day. Every day, man. I like this Neil Brown. So very good. Let's continue on here. I like that a lot. Oh, here we go. We got this. Oh, I like this here. Now, you say success. So this is Nick Saban, right? Success doesn't come from pie in the sky thinking. It's the result of consciously doing something. You say consciously is the key word. Doing something each day that will add to your overall experience. You know, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool, Nick. Very, very, very good coach. And, you know, my old office at the Calacino was Coach Saban's office there when he was at West Virginia. And I feel like I got the inspiration of Nick Saban. Definitely one of my favorite coaches. Well, let's go.
One thing I didn't understand last night is we're not doing these half-line drills and stuff today and walkthrough.
We are, yeah, this morning.
So we didn't show them the organization of that last night.
We said how to shoot.
All right, so the most important thing that we should have gotten done in terms of this morning's organization was that. If we go out there today and it's 4 minutes of explaining how to do the drill rather than doing the drill, then, you know, we kind of missed the target. You know, everything should get explained and shown to a player in the meeting. Then it should get walked through. All right, then we actually have practice, whatever. And then it eventually ends up in some kind of group period, then a team period. All right, then we go do it. But, you know, it's about 5 different opportunities for them to learn how to do it, but it starts with showing them in the meeting. And most of the time, pictures do a lot better than talking. All right, so these things need to be taught in the meetings. All right, so we don't go out there and everybody's looking around like, what are you talking about? Everything gets taught in the meeting.
Oh, yeah. But you pick it up what he put down there on the table. Woo, no one's saying a word. Nick Saban talks. Man, those guys are listening. He's like, yo, you're not getting it done. Oh, well, I've had that speech to me a couple times. Coach Nealon, yes, I have, and Mike Jacobs and any other coaches I've been around. And I've actually given that speech to my assistant coaches as well, although not as cool as that, not as tough as that, and certainly I did have that type of respect, although I did have my own certain type of respect. But regardless, is a pie in the sky, consciously doing something. That's nitty gritty down to the detail. I thought that was so cool. So cool. You're seeing a guy who's top of the line, and you can go to anyone that's successful in life. And that's what they're doing. The details. It's about the details that is going on. Right? If you can be specific. We wasted 4 minutes because we didn't go ahead in the meetings and get that done. We wasted 4 minutes. And okay, I mean, to me, he's like, all right there, granddad and all that, but those other guys, they're listening really intent and they're realizing it. And again, Alabama success. That's not the only reason why they get success. They're successful because they get the Jimmies and the Joes. They get successful for so many reasons. But that is definitely on top of it on the game. I love it. Good job, Coach Saban. I'm a fan for life. There you go. Now, let's go ahead. This is Oklahoma drill. I've heard some coaches now talk about they haven't used a sled. Offense, defensive line. No sled, man. What are you talking about? You don't use a sled. I remember my day, we started off with a sled just like this here. You see this Oklahoma film. And let's finish up here. Let's watch. There you go. Too high, right? Too high. I'll show you. There you go. Get on that sled. Oh, there's flat back, right? There you go. Flat back, baby. One more time, huh? Up, too high. Again, let's get that low. You got to have your butt up. You got to have the angle. There's no doubt. Look at the coach. He's telling you. It's sled work, man. This is the basic it gets. This is Power 5. Power 5. And you know what? And NFL teams use it. And then you got some high school coaches saying, well, we don't go with the sled. We don't need to do this. That's just, we're more interested in the scheme of things. Or even some colleges that do it. You need the sled, man, every single day. If not, at least 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week. Sled, I can remember Coach Mike Jacobs. His whistle. I can't whistle like him. He was a great whistle. Everything. He didn't need a whistle. He could do everything. Whistle right through his mouth. And we knew exactly which one was which. He had different kinds of whistles. The one that hit the sled. All right, let's hit the sled. Well, then he got one that was on wheels, and he could steer. So he'd sit behind there, and we'd be on there, and he would make us run all up and down the field with that and hitting here, turning here. The sled work. Get your butt up. Get your back flat. Nothing better besides that and the chutes, okay? And the chutes. Because then you have the width boards right there, and then you get the chutes. But the sled is essential. It's tough. And you better, if you want offensive line, if you want defensive line work, and you want toughness, and they got to do that. That's just part of building toughness and technique as well. And fundamentals. That's what the technique, right? But it's also toughness. Because the sled in camp, it is tough. All right, back to Coach Brown here. Here we go. I like this a lot.
We'd like to see maybe college football go to a combined practice thing sometime in the fall. Just curious, what would your ideal scenario for a combined practice be for WVU or college football team?
Yeah, what I think it is, you pick a weekend. I think it should be your first weekend or sometime during your second week, and you just do back-to-back practices, and you do 7-on-7, you do pass pro, pass rush, you do an inside drill, you do some controlled team setting stuff where not necessarily scrimmage, but you do very similar to what the NFL teams do. They usually do it and then do a preseason game. There's never going to be a point where they're going to let us play a preseason game, even though the NFL makes a lot of money for it. All right, like it makes some sense to do that. All right, if we're going to be about money, but at the same time, I think it's good. I think it is, and I don't think it has to necessarily be another Power 5 school. I think you can bring in some, within your region, bring people in. It needs to be somebody from a coaching staff you have trust in because you don't want them sharing, and you want to make sure that they practice it the right way.
Oh, right. Well, I love that. The NFL does it. High school does it. What is up? College basketball does it. NCAA. I mean, who listens to the NCAA anymore anyways? So who gives a hoot? Right? With the NCAA, you can't do it. Hey, how you doing? Don't you remember we're Power 5? We can go do what we want to do, right? Because they have no rules. They have no obstacles. They said, go ahead. They said, NIL, go ahead. Conference realignment, go ahead. Well, why not this? It would behoove teams that first week to be able to have had competition against somebody other than their teammates and their own schemes, that you've just become familiar with it. By the third week of camp and third week of practice for the first game, I understand what this 3 technique's trying to do to me, because that's what they do. That's what their goals are. That's what their techniques are. I want to see something else. Please, please, go ahead. Neil Brown, digging it, dog. Intensity number one, digging right now the fact that you're talking about you want to go ahead and scrimmage. I think it's one of the greatest ideas. Greatest ideas. NCAA, who cares? Do it. Find a way. Just like I talked about with getting the rivalry game back with Pitt for sure. Here we go. Now, this is something that really, really bummed me out. I don't know how true it is. I don't know. But if this is true, this is sad. Here we go.
Blindside filed a petition that states he was never actually adopted by the Teays for ESPN, or states that shortly after he turned 18 in 2004, the Teays tricked him into signing a document that gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name, but they were not actually adoption papers. The petition also states that the Teays had been receiving royalties on the movie that came out in 2009, netting the family millions while Orr hasn't received a penny. Orr also claims that the movie portraying him as unintelligent negatively impacted how some people viewed him, especially in the NFL, as they assumed he was mentally slow and lacked leadership skills. His petition asked the court to issue an injunction barring the Teays from using his name, image, and likeness while paying him his fair share of royalties.
Wow, name, image, and likeness. Now listen, I have no idea who's right or wrong. Both parties probably, it takes two to tango. But what I'm saying is, let's settle this out of court, because that was one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies. And that's very selfish of me. And I want everyone to be happy, and I want everything to work out. But that is just a crying shame. And if it's true, shame on them. That's all I'm going to say. But I didn't like it. Now I want you to see this here. This 4th and goal. This stop right here. This is so cool. This is tough. This is talking about realignment of your body, of your back. It's not so great about that, but ridiculous how hard and how well played this is right here. I have to show it. Goal line. Comes up. Kind of missing his punch too, but he shucks him there. And he takes one. There's two. He gets underneath, and he's right there, man. On his knees. You talk about Jack in the back. Ouch! Woo! Man, I tell you, I'm just going to give him a gold medal right here just for tough, being tough. That's a fullback coming at you, baby. 4 yards away, then meet a running back after you just shucked a big old offensive lineman from the NFL. That is tough as nails. And, the trap. Here comes the trap. Now, listen about the trap. I keep telling you I want it to come back to college. Why not? It's in the NFL. You can see it right here. The Lions are gonna eat it. Now, I want you to go ahead and look right here at this number 2, the defensive lineman's guy. He doesn't close the gap. What happens when you're taught as a defensive lineman, when the offensive lineman goes away, goes inside of you, guess what? So if he goes away, something's coming back. What goes away comes back. What goes away comes back, right? There you go. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Here you go. Look at this right here. What goes away comes back. Oh, yes. Look, you got to squeeze it, man. And not only do you got to squeeze it, you don't squeeze face first. You got to squeeze your inside shoulder down is what you're taught. You get low because you know something's coming, right? Why do I say that? Why do I say get low? Why do I say don't face the blocker? Well, that big offensive lineman who's 300 maybe plus pounds is what? He's running. You're stepping down. You're staggering. You're getting ready. You're bracing for the hit, right? Well, this is what happens if you don't get it. And we'll see. Oh, nice run there. Yeah. All right, Seattle. I got you. Seattle Seahawks trap. Yeah, baby. Oh, he did it one more time. All right. I can't miss that. It's not bad. There you go, trap. He squeezes it down. All right. Now, what happens when you don't squeeze down, baby, and you don't really know it's coming? I'm telling you right now, with a power level, how many times did I do this? Oh, my goodness. Oh, there we go. All right. You see that right there? How low he is? We'll get it again here. Coming off. Oh, wait a second there. Oh, look at that. You got to be prepared, right? I mean, look at this. His foot is being kicked out. He's squared down. He's facing. He didn't get tight. Look at the hole. You got a fullback running through there and a tailback. Obviously, he didn't squeeze down, but look at the leverage from the lineman, man. I mean, this is just tough. Tough. Here you go. Here he comes. Look at it. He's low. This guy, he has no clue. And you know what? I know a guy that got a concussion doing that because they weren't prepared. They didn't understand. Goes away, comes back. Goes away, comes back. Hurts, man. It hurts. That's why I love the trap, though, because you can get gaps. If they don't squeeze, man, you can get them. And you say, well, Wolf, what if the defensive lineman does squeeze? What happens? Well, what happens then is you hook him, okay? Because you can see him squeezing down, so he thinks you're trying to kick him out. No, just go with him. Say, hey, go ahead, go your way. I'll hook you. In the back, you can run it around on the outside. That's the way it's taught. Because you know why? Offensive linemen are really smart. Right on. All right. Now, this is about what I say. I've been saying it how many times? I want outside contain. Outside contain. Well, here we go. Check it out. Outside contain. And he then shucks him. This is a great example of a guy using his hands. Now, when you have control and you're used on the inside, if you have inside control of your hands, whether it be offense or defense, it doesn't matter. So you youngins, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Always be this. Always be what we call a technician. Always be. I was not the biggest offensive lineman, but boy, my hands were usually inside. And that's why I had success more than failures, because my hands were inside. And that's what a defensive player needs to do on the line, linebackers, whatever, and offense as well. Again, you can check him, right? There we go. Oh, he's got control. That wide receiver, tight end / H-back, that has no control. He has got no control. That right there, man, he's got him, man, and that's leverage. That is leverage. I love it. Good stuff. Man, it gets me fired up to watch this. Here you go. Look at that. There you go. Two guys. It was the first a combo, and he stood strong. Look at his elbows on the inside. Oh, that's a thing of beauty, and that's why he got the tackle. Oh, I really must have liked these. Put all these in here like this. There you go. Let it run. Let it run. Let it run. Let it run. There we go. Oh, the fullback. Yes, remember Nebraska and the fullback. Oh, the quick hitting. What I showed you that Oklahoma State game yesterday is inches, man, and they're in the shotgun, and they're 5 yards deep in the gun, and they hand it off. And nowadays, with all these penetrating defenses that are taught to penetrate, and you go ahead and you try to penetrate through the zone blocking, the zone gaps, and that means you got to work the outside of the gaps. That's what it's all about, man. Right there. And again, get that fullback in there and hit it. Quick hit it. I know. I can tell you about some fullbacks here in West Virginia. Owen Schmidt would have loved it. Roddy Wolfley, brother, loved it. Craig Taylor, CT, 88 team national championship. He loved it. Oh, my goodness, man. I tell you, the trap, fullback trap was everything. It's hard hitting. Bring it back. You just saw the trap, right? You just saw the trap. Right there, what we just did. If the NFL can do it, college can. They don't know how to defend the trap right now. Everybody's doing what? They're in gun. They're in gun. Oh, the pros don't even do trap from the gun. Go ahead and do it, man. Just trap it. Trap the piss out of it. I'm telling you. If you go ahead and do that, especially at a 5-man box like you saw yesterday, in the days that I've covered the defense, they do a 5-man box. Like you put 2 and 2, you got 10 personnel. You have one running back, one quarterback in the gun, and you got a 5-man box in there. Trap it, baby. There you go. Trap it. You'll get 5, 10 yards every single time. Again, watch this. This is old school, so I got to show it to you. This is Nebraska, man. Good stuff right here. Oh, man, that does look like Ronnie Wolfley right there. Only if it was in gold and blue. That's the way that would have been. Oh, there you go. Now counter OF, man. That's just huge. Look at this. This is Michigan. And why I love Michigan. Now look at the tackle. Okay, this is the counter. And you see everybody's going down and over the top. So this defense, you got the guard and tackle, double team. And I love the double team and then up to the linebackers. It's more than just a combo block. This is a double team and then it's up. Here you go. And you're going down. Look at the power angles, the guard and the tackle. Check it out. You gotta love it. Oh, watch this. Oh, it's the fullback. The guard's going to kick out, and then the fullback, bring the fullback back. That's why I put this in, baby. Michigan, here we go. Look at the fullback coming up. Oh, is that perfect? That is gorgeous right there, man. Wow. Oh, that is so, so good. That's all we're going to be able to get to today, because I promised you something even better. But that was fun. I mean, I just had a great time breaking it down, showing you what I like. I hope you like it too, because I hope it makes some sense to you. Hey, Neil Brown, intensity, man. Every single day. Love it. Love you fired up, man. I love when you can do that. And I love the fact that you want to go ahead and bring college teams together preseason for a practice, just a weekend. You're not asking for much, but if college basketball can do it, high school football can do it, NFL football can do it, so can Power Fives. And don't tell me the NCAA won't allow it, because I just don't believe in that. All right. Well, very good. Well, listen, now I told you we have a special guest today from Penn State, the Black Shoe Diaries. He's a Penn State blogger. Man, it's good. I was on a show with him on Friday night on the West Virginia the football network, the Voice of College Football Network, and he knows Penn State. In fact, I had to go out and get my notes together here that I took from him because, and you should too, because if you want to know if he knows Penn State, I'm going to tell you up front, he does. And this is what's in store. Hello, Mr. Tim Aydin. How are you, sir?
Hey, Wolfman. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you, brother. How you doing?
Doing good. Just, it's dawned upon me. We're about 2 weeks out from Penn State, West Virginia kicking off. We're approaching the last college football list weekend until January because, as you know, next weekend is week 0. Get the Notre Dame Navy and Dublin to start things off. So I'm getting excited.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know that was next week is week 0. I did not realize that. I try to cover a lot. I'm not always the best at everything that's around me. I think it's all the hits I've taken along the way, you know what I mean, in the head. But all right, but that is great news to know, man. And just go ahead and tell us about yourself, brother, and your Black Shoe Diaries and your blog.
Yeah, so I help write and edit for blackshoediaries.com. It's a Penn State blog on the SB Nation network. It's me and probably about 10 other people who help contribute to this website. So we don't just cover football, I should say. We cover Penn State sports year-round. So if you're a diehard Penn State basketball fan like me, I help cover that along with several other people. If you love Penn State wrestling especially, we've got excellent wrestling coverage. Hockey, volleyball, you name it. We cover it at Black Shoe Diaries. So, obviously football, that's what drives the most traffic. But, we show love to all the other sports at Penn State in one way or another.
Okay, I got a question here. I didn't think of this until just now, but I looked down at the camera and I saw myself and I saw my Steelers shirt. What are you there at Penn State? What is everybody? Are you Eagles people or are you Steelers people?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Wolf. So I grew up in State College. I should just put that out there. I'm a State College native, also went to Penn State. Dad worked there for 37 years, so I had no choice. Cheap tuition. But State College, though, the media market there tends to align with Pittsburgh because it was always like Steelers, Pens, Pirates coverage on the local news, and that's what the local, CBS, NBC stations would show, for hockey, football, you name it. So they do align themselves with Pittsburgh, but when it comes to the student population at Penn State, it's a mix because you get students from all over the state. So, of course, Pittsburgh people bring their fandoms, Philly people bring their fandoms, and then you get your share of people from the New York, New Jersey area. So they bring their Jets, Giants fandom down, or you get actually from where I live now in the Washington D.C. metro area, we get our share of students coming from there too. So they're like Washington or maybe Baltimore Ravens fans. So
all right,
it's a mix.
There's no doubt about it. I'm just going to tell you this really quick. I'm from Buffalo, right? New York. And
okay,
one thing I know, I like the Eagles. Okay. I don't like the Flyers, man. I'll tell you what, the Sabres will go ahead. We'll kick your can, Flyers, every time, baby. Just so you know, don't like it whatsoever. If I see a Flyers jersey, I'm looking like I got red in my eyes.
So I'm actually not a big hockey person, so that kind of
take my friend.
I won't be offended by any of those hockey comments. So
Right after. Okay, let's get after it, brother. Penn State team that's in the top, everybody's top 7. It looks like a top 5 defense. A couple questions maybe with the quarterback not having so many reps. We talked about it again Friday night, and you like what the bit of work that he's had and showed. But let's just go ahead and start breaking down before we get into schemes and how we're gonna battle each other. Let's go ahead and break down the offense for me, and I think you have to start off with the offensive line.
Yeah. So the offensive line, for the first time in years, we're not asking ourselves, can the offensive line just be serviceable? We actually view this as a strength going into this year. So it's really refreshing. Obviously you return Olaf Ashanu on the left side. He a guy who probably could have been a top 10 draft pick in this year's NFL draft, but coaching staff, to their credit, convinced him to come back for one more year. And now he's being projected like it seems like he's a lock for a top 5 pick as long as he stays healthy this year and, plays the way he's expected to play. But then you return, several other guys, including Hunter Norzad, who's moving over from right guard to the center now since Juice Scruggs, the center from last year, has moved on to the NFL. So we'll see how they do with a new center snapping the ball. I think Hunter's up to the task, but how quickly he adapts to that position change, we'll see. Lena Tangwall, a returning left guard, unfortunately hasn't been practicing much. Rumors maybe he had a concussion, maybe some health issues. He missed the last, I think, half of last year due to a knee injury. So hopefully whatever's keeping him out, he'll get over it and we'll get to see him in game action this year. On the right side of the ball, on the right side of the line, you got Sal Wormley and Caden Wallace returning their starting spots. But I'll say what really makes us Penn State fans bullish about the offensive line this year is the depth, like the backups behind that, because some of them had to get thrust into action because of the injury bug biting this unit last year, like around November. So you had guys like Drew Shelton, who played as a true freshman last year, a very highly touted recruit. He's already gotten some action. And then J.B. Nelson, another guy to keep an eye out for, former JUCO transfer. And then Vega Ioane, this big Samoan dude from Washington State that Penn State managed to get out of UW's backyard. He saw a little bit of action last year too, and he's a dude that he's got a lot of potential. And I think you're going to see him. He may not be starting, but if certain guys maybe don't perform to the expectations, maybe he does take a starting spot. But at the very least, you got 3 guys on the bench who can come. So you got about like an 8-man rotation going for your O-line potentially, which I would say is pretty good. That's like
nowadays.
Sure. I mean,
yeah. No, okay. Well, all right. So that's cool. Obviously, the next part of the strength, and maybe it can't be a strength unless the offensive line's a strength. So let's hit the running backs. You got Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. Singleton may be one of the best running backs in the country, if not the, right?
Oh, I mean, easily one of. I know Michigan fans we might be watching this, will be stumping for Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, which I guess you got to give them. I would probably put them number 1 for right now, and I would put Singleton Allen right behind him in a very close number 2. They both had, I think, 1,000 total yards each last year. But it was just a shot in the arm for a group that just horribly underperformed in 2021. And then Kevon Lee, who was who was a starter in 2021, ended up transferring out to Mississippi State this offseason because he saw the writing on the wall. I mean, Singleton and Allen, I think we know, what you got in those two if you've watched any Penn State football last year or even just watched highlights of Penn State football. Singleton's like the home run hitter. He's the guy who, any given touch, he can take it to the house. Similar to Saquon Barkley. Not trying to say he's Saquon Barkley, but as far as being a home run threat, that's what he reminds me of.
Yeah.
He had a tendency to kind of try to go to the outside a lot at the beginning of last season, and that worked fine for him in high school. But, when he started getting, prevented from doing that in the college game, I think he became a much more patient runner over the course of the season and really started to work more off his blockers. And, also he gained some power too. I mean, I know Katron Allen, who's the more powerful back, is, gets a lot of that, what's the term? The thunder to the Singleton's lightning. But, Singleton turned into a more bruising back in a way towards the end of last season. I think he'll build off of that. I think, get another off season in Chuck Losey's strength and conditioning programs got him looking pretty jacked. So,
let me cut you off here for a second. But, you got to think, these guys were freshmen last year. So when you say that, learn more east and west, going east and west, and now they're more north and south with a little more patience. That's just a natural process of developing, honestly. And when you go from the gun a lot, that you have to have patience at times to wait for those blocks to develop. That's part of the gun being with that. So again, very cool. Let's go ahead then, unless you got something else to say about the running backs, but move on to Drew Alar. Everybody wants to hear about the 5-star quarterback that's coming off of a season where they, what I've heard termed is they used them wisely, not overly, but they've also put him in some nice positions and during some parts of the game where it wasn't just wash up, it wasn't just clean up, right?
Exactly. And actually his very first bit of game action last year was in a tight ball game on the road at Purdue in their season opener. Sean Clifford, for whatever reason, had to sit out a series, and so Drew got thrust in there. And I think that was the moment the Penn State fans realized Drew Auer could be the real deal, because the moment was not too big for him. For a lot of true freshmen who would get put in that situation, they may wilt under the pressure, or they may just make a bunch of safe throws, or, just not try to take shots downfield. But, Drew he stood there in the pocket, was patient with his checkdowns. He would find the open guy. And I joked on Joey Foster's show last Friday. He threw the most beautiful incomplete pass I've ever seen, trying to hit Tyler Warren down the sidelines, or Tyler Warren, our tight end. And I mean, it just hit him like he's being covered by a guy. It just kind of hit him right on the numbers, just kind of fell through his chest. Like, it was almost like Tyler himself was surprised it was that accurate.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. How pretty is his throwing? Because his throws are pretty sexy. Just the fact his release, beautiful. He's 6'5". I mean, dude's a giant in there, right? So he stands, which may hurt his mobility a little bit, but regardless, you got a good offensive line, that doesn't matter. But you can stand in there, as you just said, Tim, is that he could go through his checkdowns because he can see. He can see over his offensive line, and he has the temerity, or what you want to call it, the cojones, to go ahead and hang in there, man, and to go to the checkdown. So, again, that's a big positive, but he's got a release that's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, no question. I mean, that's what what Mike Yursich loved about him so much, that he offered the kid, like, when he was still a mid 3-star, who hadn't been discovered by the rest of the country yet, and of course, blew up. And but yeah, just seeing his arm strength, his accuracy, and just his poise in the pocket. You just say something about his mobility, and I'll say he's more mobile than you think. I mean, don't expect to see them run him like they did with Sean Clifford. But if the pocket collapses, he needs to escape, or if they're just going to give him that much space and he's got all this real estate to run for the first down, he'll take it. I'm sure that, Yursich is working with him on these things. So I would not underestimate his ability to run. Just because he's a 6'5" big dude does not mean he's a statue. I think nowadays, the statue quarterback's kind of a.
I'm just looking for some kind of flaw I'm just looking for a little bit of a flaw, right?
Right. I would say if he's got any, I mean, I'd say I think the biggest flaws right now, just doesn't have that much experience. He got more experience than you would expect from a true freshman backup. But of course, he hasn't been a starter yet. He sometimes does try to, thread that needle, like show off that arm a little too much. So you may see him get a little Brett Favre on you, trying to, get it between double or triple coverage when he had another guy wide open, could have gotten it to. He'll make some rookie mistakes. That's to be expected. But
you want that, don't you, Tim? Yeah. You want that. You want him
to
have that confidence and the knowledge that he's got the ability to make that throw, although it may not be the best decision he made. That's the kind of guy that's going to go ahead and succeed in every other area other than that. And then you got to reel him in a little bit, get the old fishing rod out and say, hey, man, you can't do that every time. But I like the fact that you got the chops to go ahead and try it.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of a, and I don't mean any disrespect to Sean Clifford. He was a good quarterback in and of himself, but there was kind of a ceiling with him as far as, physical throwing ability and just maybe getting a little locked in on one receiver, like not checking down as much.
Right.
He was a good college quarterback, but for a team like Penn State that doesn't, they don't recruit. They don't quite recruit at the they recruit very well, but they don't recruit at like a Georgia or a Bama or an Ohio State like level. They don't have like 5 stars at all their 2 deeps on every position like some of those teams do. So, you need someone like Georgia can get away with having a Stetson Bennett as quarterback, whereas if you're a team like Penn State, you need like an elite quarterback. And, one of my former Blackshear Diaries colleagues, Marty Leap, used to use a comparison of when Clemson had Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not like Clemson had a bunch of elite talent stacked up at all positions, but they had that elite quarterback, and that's what eventually got them over the top to making the playoff, winning a national championship ultimately. And of course, when Trevor Lawrence came in, same thing.
Right.
So,
yeah, I'm sorry. Again, I just want to keep it going here because you know so much, but I want to get to now is because you got tight ends. They like 12 personnel, 1 running back, 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. Penn State I'm talking about. Let's get into it now. You got receivers. You got good receivers, but you don't have any that stand out right now. Some of them are not tested. You do have the transfer in from Kent State, who is tested in the MAC. I'm not going to say he's tested in the Big Ten yet. Joe Lars is young. Obviously, got to run. But go ahead. How are you going to go ahead and attack this defense of West Virginia?
Well, I would expect the staff first and foremost to get the run game going. That's something Franklin's long wanted to do, and you got the best. You have one of the best dynamic running duos in the country. I mean, why not use them first?
Great tight ends.
And of course, and you got great tight ends who can block and can catch.
Yeah.
So, I would expect. They'll run at them, and if that's getting stifled a bit, then I think you'll see them start to – I'll tell you what, I think if they're able to just stop a straight run, then you're going to start seeing Penn State hit Singleton and Allen on swing passes, screens, and, of course, get the tight ends involved, maybe swing it around a bit more. Granted, I'm just looking at how much West Virginia struggled defensively last year. I saw they were second to last in the Big 12, like 33 points per game. And
you are correct. Go ahead, you can say it. We all know the facts.
And they lost a lot, and they seem to have lost several guys from that roster. Now, granted, I think I said this on Friday. Maybe it's an addition by subtraction situation. So maybe
go ahead, continue, but I think so.
So it could be. So it could be. It's hard for them to get any worse, I guess. But game 1 in Happy Valley, it's maybe not the place for them to gain a little confidence, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, I think Penn State's going to run right at them. They'll probably have some success, but I think you're also going to try to make sure Drew gets some, throws in there, get his confidence up as a first-time starter. So, I guess, it sounds like a kind of cop-out answer, but balanced attack, we'll say.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this, all right? And I want you to remember this to me, all right? Lee Koba, linebacker, okay? He's got to show up, and Alar and Singleton better be aware because the guy can tackle. He's probably going to have double-digit tackles. Don't know what that means. Don't know where he's going to make those tackles at, but I bet you he's gonna shine pretty well there. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and flip it over. We got about 8 minutes here left on this, and I want to just talk about this top 5 defense. Just give me a general scenario on how you think they're going to play. Manny Diaz is a defensive coordinator. He likes to gamble. Would that be fair to say? Okay, he's a gambler.
Yes, it's a yep.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so Manny Diaz, second-year defensive coordinator, he, definitely brings a more aggressive style to Penn State. Something, you hadn't really seen in a long time. Not that Brent Pry didn't like to throw blitzes at you, but Manny's all about constantly throwing pressure at opposing offenses. He wants to rattle your quarterback. He wants them seeing ghosts. By the second half and, running for his life. And, so in the gamble, of course, it's high risk, high reward. So they're going to give up some big plays when they're not able to get home on the quarterback or swallow up the running back in the backfield. But they're also banking, this is where the rewards outweigh the risk, but they've got their fair share of, sacks, quarterback hurries, forced fumbles, interceptions. The risks are, the rewards outweigh the risk. And, Manny's going to take, with the athletes he's got returning to this defense, he's definitely going to be taking that same gamble again this year. And I think it's going to be highly successful again because the defensive line may be the best part of this, either that or the secondary. I don't know. But D-line, you got Adisa Isaac, Chop Robinson coming off the edge. And, in the middle, you've got Hakeem Beeman, who's really bulked up and has apparently been tearing it up at camp.
Well, they're all juniors, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're all. They've been there for a while. They were on that team that went 11-2 last year. And the defense. Yep. Where did the defense finish in the Penn State's the Big Ten and national?
Ooh, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up.
I thought they were top 3 or 4.
That would not surprise me in the least bit. I think they were top 3 or 4.
All right, well, let's keep it going, man. And okay, Joey Porter I keep saying Joey Porter, right? That is Joey Porter. He was junior.
Joey Porter Jr., yep.
Junior. He went to the Steelers. How does that leave the quarterback position? Because I hear they got a quarterback that some are putting the top 5 quarterbacks in the draft for this upcoming year.
Kalen King. Yep, good. That would be Kalen King, who's being projected in all those mock drafts to be like a top 10, even top 5 pick, perhaps. He's just one of the best in the country at. He may be the best cornerback in the country. Just very few balls that get thrown his way end up being caught. And I pity the poor fool of a quarterback who throws in his direction. It's probably not going to end well. So you may see them.
What's his size?
What's his size? He's like 5'10", off the top of my head.
5'10"?
Kalen King. 5'11".
5'11", all right. Nice size. Yeah. Okay.
5'11", yeah. He's like the right size for a corner, but he's very athletic, just really, and he just covers opposing receivers like a glove. He's just so excellent in man coverage and just has a real just natural sense for where the ball is. That's how he's able to come up with these interceptions. And on the other side, you got Johnny Dixon, who I imagine is to get the bulk of the throws his way as far as corners are concerned, but very capable guy himself. he could also be a potential interception machine if opposing quarterbacks aren't careful.
Sure.
So it's a dynamic duo back there at corner, even though Joey Porter Jr. is gone. And then, behind that, he got a couple solid backups in Cam Miller and true freshman Elliott Washington. I'm sure. And I think when in situations they go to a nickel back, they'll throw in Daquan Hardy in there, who's definitely been able to hold his own.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. So I'm looking at this. I'm seeing junior transfer, but that's okay. Junior transfer, Richard Senior. You got one sophomore, Abdul Carter at will. But you have another sophomore. But then you got junior, senior transfers, Richard Senior. I mean, it looks to me like it's an old defense and really stout, really stout.
Yes.
And again, you think Manny Diaz is going to go? We're going to finish this up. I kept you on longer than I said I would. I apologize for that, but I love to talk football. But I think because you got Garrett Green or Nico Marchio, either one is inexperienced to a degree. Okay, so do you think with Manny Diaz being who Manny Diaz is, with your corners having the best corner in the country, one of them, and one that's also a redshirt senior transfer, okay, and then have a whole secondary that's seniors, all right, and have all that there. Do you think Manny Diaz is going to just try to just bring the kitchen sink at West Virginia? Yes or no?
Oh, I would be surprised if he doesn't. He's got to be licking his chops at bringing Abdul Carter on a blitz against against whoever's starting back there, because like I said, it's going to be they're both, neither of them is that experienced. I know you said I think Green started a couple times.
He
if I recall correctly.
Yeah, he does.
So,
and he may be the guy, certainly the first game. Depending, I had no idea how it's going to work itself out. I have my own theories, but the only time will tell. But honestly, man, I really appreciate this, man. It's Tim Aydin, BlackShoeDiaries.com. He's a Penn State blogger, part of SB Nation. He's coming out. Maybe we'll get you back here right before the game. Talk about, see what's happening. Anything else you want to add about Penn State, the game, huh? Happy Valley. What do you want to add about Happy Valley? Give it to us.
You want a score prediction, or just
is it nuts or is it nuts?
Sorry, can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
Nuts or is it nuts?
It's nuts. It's gonna. I'll tell you. I hope all the West Virginia fans enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the tailgating. I know it's been 32 years since they last clashed in Beaver Stadium. That was right before Penn State joined the Big Ten. So I know I'm a little on the younger side, but I am old enough to have started watching Penn State football when they were still in the last couple of years as an independent. So I remember West Virginia being a common opponent. It's going to be nice to see them play each other again. But drastic prediction, I think it's like 20.5 is the line for Penn State. I think Nittany Lions cover. I think it could be close for a half, like maybe 2.5 quarters, but I think Penn State's just got too much depth, and they're just going to wear this West Virginia team down ultimately.
Well, can't sit here and argue with that one, because facts are facts, and age is age, experience is experience. And right now, I think that Penn State's sitting in a better spot, but that's why they play the game, my friend, and it will be experience regardless for fans and players and coaches alike. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate it, brother. God bless you, man. Take care, all right?
Good thing. Thanks for having me.
You got it, man. All right. Well, there you go. That's Tim Aydin there, Black Shoe Diaries, Penn State blogger. Hope you guys have enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed the first part of the segment. I can see Wolfman, there's Joey right there. And, wow, I missed a lot there, guys. So I go ahead. If I don't sit there and hit you out there, man, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I'm just trying to have my conversation going. Hey, he's dropping all that material, that knowledge about Penn State. Know your enemies, man, because that's exactly what you got to do. It's exactly what the players got to do, the coaches, everybody, right? It's cool. That's why you love the game of football. That's the excitement. These are the games you honestly love to live for. All right. And with that being said, I got something that's really cool right now, and that is Tony Altimore. I'll tell you what, this guy here, you want to talk Pac-12? He'll talk back. I mean, he came out and he told me last week that the Pac-12 hasn't been around since 1912. This has happened. It happened before the same single way. I never knew that. Let's find out what he's got this week. What's up, Tony?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Hey, we got another history redux that revealed itself yesterday.
Oh my gosh, when you use the words like redux, man, I tell you what, I have to think about it for a second. No, all right, well, very good, man. What you got for us today?
So get this. Yesterday, Brady McCullough from the LA Times came out with a fascinating deep dive into some of the mistakes that the presidents made that led to the collapse of the Pac-12. And one of the things that was really interesting is that UCLA, when they announced they were leaving the conference, and one of the things that we didn't know, and I found this very surprising because I had believed that everything was set, that UCLA was going to get out of there and the UC regents were not going to cause any problems. The Pac-12 believed firmly, and they were quite public about it, that they thought UCLA might stay. And I personally thought that was nuts. I didn't understand it. We found out yesterday in the LA Times that the Pac-12 made a deal with the California regents where they would pay UCLA more than anybody else. They would get, I think it was $52 million of media revenue, and everybody else would split the rest. And as a result, UCLA would then stay in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 would pay off their termination fee to the Big Ten, and I guess presumably Stanford or somebody would go in their place. But then the Pac-12 would keep the LA TV market, keep UCLA.
Right.
And the temporary president of Oregon, not even the real president, but the temporary president of Oregon said, nope, no way. There's no way that we, Oregon, will take less money than UCLA. And they killed the deal. Now, today, what's really funny about that is Oregon is getting a half share from the Big Ten. So Oregon is literally taking half as much money as UCLA.
That's right. No, you're right.
But you want to get the even better part? So we talked, and it was the temporary president from Oregon. It was not even the full Oregon president because the full Oregon president hadn't started his job yet. So here's the really funny part. We talked last time about how the Pacific Coast Conference broke apart starting in 1957.
Yeah.
Well, right before it broke apart, Cal went to Oregon with a plan to keep it from breaking apart. And Glenn Seaborg, who was the co-discoverer of plutonium, Nobel Prize winner, guy who founded the PAC, went to the temporary president of Oregon, who was their faculty athletic rep, but had previously just finished his term as the temporary president, this guy named Orlando Hollis. He was the law dean and like a weird, very effete, professor-y type evil character. He's literally the evil professor, if you could imagine, and came to him with a plan to keep UCLA in the conference and keep USC in the conference and Cal too. But literally, Cal brought a plan to keep UCLA in the conference, and Oregon shot it down in 1957, and they left and the conference collapsed.
Oh, my goodness.
It literally happened again.
That reminds me, that sounds like Pitt when Penn State was trying to form a Big East, and Pitt wouldn't do it, and then Penn State left for the Big Ten.
Yeah, and Villanova was I'm told, was the other one who was really to blame.
Oh, that's true. Well, we're talking on the other side of hoops. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Villanova screwed up on that. By the way, go Stillers. My dad's from Pittsburgh, so.
Well, very good. I thought you were from Mannington in West Virginia.
Well, that's my mom's side. Her side's from Mannington. My dad's side's from Pittsburgh.
All right, very good.
Or I should pronounce it correctly, Pittsburgh.
So listen, I actually pay attention to what you say. All right, I remember that.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, so continue on here, man. And
yeah, so that was pretty wild. But we're gonna see something really interesting in the next 2 days.
Okay.
According to John Wilner, who's like the brilliant master Pac-12 guru, they are expecting the ACC to decide within the next 2 days whether they're taking Cal, Stanford, and SMU into the ACC. And what's wild about that is, we talked about the Stanford president who got fired and is like leaving, but is just inept. Stanford finally said, that's it. We've had enough. We're pulling out the big guns. I don't know if you heard about this, but they brought in Condoleezza Rice, who was the Stanford provost before she went to the White House. And she's been on the college football playoff committee. She's a member of Augusta. She's a part owner of the Broncos. And she is the head of Stanford's Hoover Institution. So she's a professor at Stanford still. And so she has taken over as the special assistant in charge of fixing their athletic mess, together with Jerry Yang, the founder of Yahoo. And so Stanford has tasked those two to fix their problem and get them into the Big Ten or the ACC if they can. And then SMU, I don't know if you know this, but Mrs. Bush is a devout SMU alum. She was, I think, a theater there.
No, I did not.
Have you heard this?
No, I'm laughing because this is to bring you on the show, man.
Yeah, the Bush Library is right next to the SMU Stadium.
Okay.
So George Bush and Condoleezza Rice are running around the country right now trying to get Stanford, Cal, and SMU into the ACC or the Big Ten. So it's a wild time. A wild time to be alive, and so we're sort of laughing. What they're like, and of course the irony is, and we're not being political here, but it's a bit ironic, is that Cal and Stanford are sometimes viewed on a little bit of the left side of the spectrum, and of course their saviors are George Bush and Condoleezza Rice. So we are in wild times of the sport, guys. It's just kind of fun.
It really is. And with that being said, so Joey here, he wants to know, Tony, if the Big 12 should they open the doors once more and grab Washington State and Oregon.
Absolutely.
You think so?
Well, let's be clear. Those are better football teams than three of the ones you just added.
Well, I mean,
okay, I think they're better football teams than five of the ones you've just added, or six of the ones you've just added.
Well, Oregon State, it was double digits last year, right?
Wazoo's always good. And here's the other thing. People watch Washington State. Like, the thing about Washington State is Washington State's kind of like Texas Tech in that, like, the school is in the middle of nowhere.
Pullman.
Getting to Pullman, it's on the Idaho border. It's basically in Idaho. You can hit a golf ball from
7 miles, I think, is the distance.
And even closer, I think, with where the campus is. So they're in the middle of nowhere, but their fans are all over the state. Like it's the state school. So, it's kind of like Penn State too. Penn State's in the middle of nowhere, but like Penn State fans are all over. So I really think, and Corvallis, people don't realize, is way closer to Portland than Eugene. The University of Oregon is the one in the middle of nowhere. Oregon State is close to the city. So I really think they would both be great for the Big 12. It sounds to me from when we heard Commissioner Yormark gave some interviews the other day where he said they're done expanding. They're not adding any more. I think it's too bad because I think those are two great schools. They fit well in the Big 12. I mean, I've put all kinds of charts. Oregon State, Washington State are always right in the middle of the Big 12 in all kinds of metrics. They got great football. They got great fans. They would be really good for the Big 12.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I think Connor Johnson, I think he totally agrees with you on that. He's
Connor Johnson, go Beavs.
Yeah, there you go, right? He's you know what? He changed my mind. He told me about all the additions that Oregon State made to their stadium, $100+ million, in renovation.
Beautiful stadium.
Because it really needed it, number one. I will say that because I went up there one time and saw it, but it needed. So that's good news.
Well, you know why? Do you know why they all needed stadium renovations? Oregon State, Washington State, and Oregon that when the Pacific Coast Conference was collapsing, none of those teams had stadiums. So, like, Oregon Stadium was literally collapsing and half condemned. It was a track stadium, truly like half condemned, couldn't be occupied. Washington State had nothing. So Washington State had to play their games at a high school in Spokane, 90 miles away. And Oregon State and Oregon, if they were going to play USC and UCLA or Washington, they refused to go to their like dumpy, not even high school stadiums. And so they would have to play them at the baseball stadium in Portland.
Oh.
And so part of the conditions of them joining the Pac-12 in 1964 was they had to do some admission stuff. But one of the things that they had to do is they said, you have to build a stadium. It's got to be a real stadium. So they did. The three of them, Oregon State built Reeser, Oregon built Autzen, and Washington State built Martin. But now they're hitting the point of their lifespan that they kind of need to be rebuilt. And so Oregon State has done that. They've rebuilt the whole thing in Reeser off a couple different phases, and it's a beautiful facility. And of course, Nike money took care of Autzen.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about this then. Well, what do you hear about? You said Condoleezza Rice, and you hear with the Mrs. Bush, but what about Oliver Luck? Or Oliver Luck.
So first of all, Oliver Luck is probably who they should have hired to be commissioner in the first place. 2 years ago. We now know, I think that is an incontrovertible truth. I'll tell you, Oliver Luck is the right person. So I said actually, mid-July? In mid-July, I thought the conference had failed. I thought they needed a new commissioner. And there are three people that I think would be a great commissioner for the Pac-12. I don't think they can screw up. I don't think they have the chance to screw up this hire. They have to get it right. The three people that I think are perfect for them are Oliver Luck, Mike Oresco, or Gloria Nevarez. Mike Oresco from the AAC and Gloria Nevarez from the Mountain West. So, whatever happens, they need one of those three in charge. I mean, I think Kliakov knows that his time there is coming to an end. And they're trying to see what's happening. I mean, and part of the problem with Kliakov too is, and we talked about this the other day, he's a bit of a stooge, right? Because he's like the manager that the presidents dictate stuff to, and the presidents have repeatedly not listened to him and done the wrong things and screwed up and broke the conference.
Yep.
But the problem is, at the end of the day, part of that job is you have to manage up. And if you're going to have that job, you have to stop your presidents from ordering you to do the wrong things. And he wasn't able to do that.
Yeah. And I think just the lack of aggressiveness. Let me ask you this, all right? With Oliver Luck, what can he do now with four teams? Now, obviously, if you got Condoleezza Rice working,
maybe two.
Yeah, maybe two. As I'm saying, if you got her working on ACC, what can you do with two? You got to either go Big 12 or Mountain West. You can't really go to the American, can you?
Well, you maybe could. So the American has better football overall than the Mountain West does. The Mountain West has a couple of great teams. So San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Air Force, Fresno. All would be great. Really, the best thing, and maybe this is what Oliver Luck is going to try to do, and this would be terrible for those other conferences, but he might try to put together an all-star team. Like, let's take the 5 best from the American and the 5 best from the Mountain West, and we put them together and we create a number 5 conference, right? So we know we've got the Big 10 and the SEC in one stratosphere. We've got the ACC and the Big 12 kind of together. You can debate what you want. And then there's a big gap in the G5. He says, let's put somebody in that big gap. We're not going to be the Big 12. We know that. But we're going to be a lot better than the American or the Mountain West. And there's a lot of room to do that, especially if you have the 4 teams. I mean, remember, Stanford is 5 years removed from Christian McCaffrey, Rose Bowl champion. Stanford was guys at the Heisman ceremony. I mean, Stanford was legit. They've had a bad couple of years, and they're going to have a really bad year this year. Cal has done a lot to rebuild their team, rebuild their program. I mean, Cal averages more fans in most of their games than some of the Big 12 stadiums hold. So, even though we make fun of them, right, because they have cavernous sections of empty seats, there's still, for a lot of their games, maybe not when they play the little teams, but a lot of their games, they're still drawing more fans than some of the Big 12 stadiums hold. Not you guys, because West Virginia is awesome, but there are others that.
But okay, go continue on.
Yeah. So I mean, these are real teams that deserve real homes. I continue to think that the Big 10 should have taken Cal and Stanford. It appears that I am the only one who thinks that. So that seems to not be happening. But if the ACC can take them, I think that would be great. I think it would solidify the ACC. The ACC has some rather mouthy members right now that I don't know what's going to happen there, but I don't see a path to what they're trying to will into existence. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think about this, I did not know SMU that they're trying to get into the Big Ten with Mrs. President Bush, but I didn't know SMU had that type of academics.
Oh, SMU is a great school. I mean, U.S. News and World Report, SMU is number they're in the 60s, I think. I mean, SMU academically outranks any member of the current Big 12.
Okay, that's surprised.
but remember that the Big 12 schools have different missions than SMU. SMU is a very elite, small private school, whereas like WVU, Kansas State, Texas Tech. I mean, these are all, a lot of them are land grants. Like they have a different mission. And so you don't worry about that. You just look, I like to look at it and be like, is this a good school? Yes. They're all, and truly every school in a Power 5 conference is a really good school. There are no bad schools in a Power 5 conference.
Absolutely. Okay. So only first we open the door to take them. I think he's talking about Washington State, and open the door. People start leaving in the ACC in 5 years. We don't have room for a Pitt, Virginia Tech, or BC. So what you're saying is you take the two teams out west, Oregon State, Washington State, and then Big Ten, SEC, and probably the Big 12 starts picking apart the ACC. They're saying you don't have room for your Virginia Techs. So, that's obviously coming from West Virginia fans.
So first of all, one of the things that I think the Big 12 has kind of done you dirty on is they needed to get you guys some more people in the East. Mm-hmm. I've said UConn. I think Memphis is the team. Memphis and UConn are two great programs. I really think Memphis would have sort of you literally look at a map. If you draw lines between all the Big 12 schools, in the middle of those lines is Memphis.
Yeah.
And, good football. They're $250 million. They're renovating the stadium, elite basketball. They would have the biggest, the biggest or second biggest basketball arena in the Big 12. So Memphis is a school that I thought would have been great for you guys. I continue to believe UConn would have been great for you guys. And your eastern flank of the conference kind of needs that. I guess when I talk to people from the ACC, they sort of view it as they don't think that they have the same imminent risk of departures. And they seem to think that if they did have some departures, that they would probably still hold together. I also, by the way, have said, I don't know if you may not know this, your audience may not know this. I've said for years that I thought the ACC was messing up by not bringing in West Virginia.
Yep. Well, they agree with you. I know that.
And actually, even the SEC, West Virginia would be great in the SEC. West Virginia would be great for anybody. I've always said, if you want to move your campus to Vegas, you would have been great for the Pac-12. West Virginia would be great for anybody. And so, but given the Big 12's, I jokingly call it the blood oath. So you guys have that 99-year membership agreement. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody's leaving the Big 12. So, for you guys to go to leave for the ACC would be kind of financially dumb. But, as far as, I also think we're at a point right now where, sort of the idea of saving room. I don't know. Should you do that, or should you get the best teams you can get? I mean, the truth is, I shouldn't say this. They would crucify me for this. The truth is, if you could have saved the receipt on a couple of teams you just got, taken back for some store credit for some new things, but you can't do that. And you make decisions when you do because they're the right decisions at the time. Mm-hmm. And I think strengthening the conference would be smart. Oregon State and Washington State would strengthen the conference. They would be smart. They would also give you real inventory in that Pacific time, which I think is something that, they've been very open about valuing. You don't have, you have 3 teams, or I guess 4 teams there now. It's kind of hard to have a whole schedule based on 4 teams. So, a couple more would be helpful.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Tony. But I'm going to say this. I think there's a little validity to a guy. I mean, you're a West Coast guy, but you are also on the East Coast. So, I mean, the country. But a Pitt, Virginia Tech, Boston College, Syracuse, those would really, with the Cincinnati, UCF, so because we had Miami before, so heading down to Florida is not a big deal. That would be a strong east of Mississippi conference.
It'd be tremendously strong. The question is, would the ACC actually disintegrate, or would the ACC just lose a couple?
Yeah. Well, do you think? Okay, so let's just get right to it.
That's a good question.
Florida State, Clemson, can the ACC sustain?
I've actually done a lot of research on this, and I can't share all of it, but I will tell you that the math that I've done says the ACC would be quite sustainable having lost those two. Provided that their other teams don't start to the ACC last year had a really bad year.
Yeah,
they just had a lot of teams that stunk, and conferences have those every so often. The Pac-12 had it 2 years ago. Where just everybody was bad, and so the ACC kind of had that everybody was bad last year. So as long as the ACC can continue to be strong enough, and the other thing too with the ACC is they have a very basketball culture focus. Like basketball matters a lot to them culturally, and that's a strength. It was a weakness of the Pac-12. One of the weaknesses of the Pac-12 is that once you lost USC and UCLA, your basketball was starting to be weak, and there were no good basketball ads to restructure that, which was an issue for Arizona. So I think that the ACC could survive without those two, because the other thing is that you've got a lot of other big market teams. As long as they can keep, Pitt being decent. I know you guys hate to say that. Sorry. Pitt being decent, but losing to West Virginia. As long as as long as you get Virginia Tech back up.
Right? Who wants to be a crappy team? Beat Virginia Tech. Hopefully they're good. We beat them. Hopefully it's good. We beat them. So, that's
what you want those teams to be good. But, you also take a look at it and, again, those would be really good teams to add. But you're also looking at, there's a lot of teams in the ACC. And there's a lot of teams to absorb. And so I think that and the other thing, what's the difference between the ACC and the Pac-12? Huge difference. And this is the same issue they have today, same issue they had in the 1950s. There's a lot of good schools that you could add in the Eastern Seaboard, right? So if the ACC needed to add a couple,
right?
I mean, assuming they don't add Stanford and Cal right now, but if they stayed together and needed to add somebody a few years, you could talk about, I don't know, Old Dominion, James Madison, Coastal Carolina, App State, heck, Georgia State's becoming a thing. Kennesaw State is probably going to be coming good. So there's lots of schools you could add around the region of where you would need them. UConn, Villanova, heck, you could add Georgetown if you wanted basketball. So there's a lot of stuff you can add in the East that just isn't there in the West.
Okay.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting.
I think so. All right. So one last thing before I let you go for this week. Good stuff again, man.
Always fun to chat.
You talked last week about the California schools all being a big part of the Mountain West, I believe, right? The other schools, not the PAC schools, the school system of the California school system. All right. So if, say, Stanford and Cal does join the ACC, is it only football and basketball, or just football, and all the other teams stay out west?
No idea. That's a really good question. My guess is they would join as full members, but they might do some weird scheduling. Like, I don't know, maybe they do like half schedules of baseball. Who knows at that point? That would be some really good questions. But I mean, if you're going to have football and basketball both, you kind of have your identity there. You'd probably have a lot of stuff. The conference might relook at how they do things like swimming or tennis and all. But I mean, one of the other things you remember about Stanford and Cal too is they are both right next to a giant, easy to fly into international airport. And most of the ACC schools are fairly easy to fly into. So you can do some of the same creative scheduling that they're going to do with USC and UCLA.
Right.
You could do with them. Because remember also, Stanford and Duke, and I like to, poop my USC self likes to poo my nose at both. But they are actually very integrated. Like they integrate their athletic departments in a lot of unique ways. Okay. Like they very much are shared in this belief that they want to be the best schools in the country with elite athletic departments. So, for example, they even have an internship program. I don't know if you know about this. It's like a joint internship program that's half Stanford athletes and half Duke athletes. And they, go around the world and do projects or something. It's weird. Like Stanford and Duke are very much locked in together. The University of California is, of course, a monster institutionally. So there's a lot of stuff they could do kind of flexibly. And it may also make a statement to Clemson and Florida State that, like, hey, guess what? We're stocked up. If you become a problem in the future, we're going to be okay. And strategically, I think that's smart because that's what the Pac-12 screwed up on. The Pac-12 failed to protect its flank when it needed to.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, man, good stuff there, Tony. It's
Go Mountaineers.
Yeah, go Mountaineers, man. If you want to follow Tony, you should be following him on Twitter at TJ Altimore. Follow him so you can get smarter. All right. I don't know.
Hey.
Get wiser, become more knowledgeable, however you want to put it. But you'll be better off when it comes to what you put out there because it's a cool channel, man, of your Twitter handle.
Thank you. And I'll be cheering hard for the Mountaineers. You guys, games are coming up.
Yep, well, they are, brother. Penn State can't get any crazier than that. Open it up.
So fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Tony. We'll see you soon, brother.
See you soon. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Wow. Man, what a show today. I'm just getting like I'm fired up, man. Fired up. What do you got anything left here on these videos? I got cover 0 coming here. That's mission to counter OF. What was the next one? Real quick. Just let me see this before I throw in a commercial. We got to do cover 0 still. I promise you cover 0. You got to get cover 0 because guess why? You know what's going to happen with cover 0? That's what Penn State's going to do. They're going to go cover 1, which is man-free safety, and everyone else is man. Going to put the pressure on the quarterback because they're young. Manny Diaz, that's his game anyways. And let's see what else. What else we got? I think do we have anything else cool? I got that. That was kind of boring. All right, this. Here's one for you. You can go ahead and you can watch this one time. And you can watch the boom right here. Check this out. This is good stuff right here now. Oh, that's leave it to me to screw it up. There you go. Okay, we'll still get it in there. There you go. Oh, look at this. Eyes underneath. We got to go back to that. I screwed that up. Boy, it's good stuff. Here we go. Get another shot of that. Oh, there, that's what I'm talking about. That's worth it. That's worth the screw up. There you go. Good job. That's going to wake you up on a Thursday, send you off. Here we go. Let's go to see Abby Pearson right now. We got to get commercial in here for Parmar Stores, name, image, likeness. I love Parmar Stores, man, because they take care of our athletes at WVU. Here we go. What's up, Abby?
Hi, I'm Abby Pearson from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and when I'm back home, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that gold and blue pride at your local Parmar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more, we are gold and blue proud, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
All right, and right on. And we got this now. We got it. Cover 0. Again, you got to watch this. You got to end something on a tough Thursday. When I say tough, I'm talking about tough meaning, tough man, tough woman, tough person, right? Here we go. We're going to enjoy this. This is about football, and we're talking about bringing 6 or more. That's what cover 0 is. Cover 0 is... And when you got a young quarterback, you got to understand that they're looking at the field. And teams that are older, we just got done talking Penn State. I just got done telling you they're what? They're senior, junior, 2 sophomores, and everybody else is a junior, seniors. Whole secondary is just about seniors. Best cornerback in the country, senior, going to get drafted. All right, you got another cornerback that's a senior, redshirt senior, been playing, was pretty darn good himself. You got all that right going on. Guess what they're going to do? Manny Diaz, he's going to come after you. He's got to come after Garrett Green. He's going to come after Nico Marchio. All right, so cover 0. I want you to understand what it is. You're bringing 6 or more. Man free is you got that safety free, so you can only bring 5, right? Because if you got 4 receivers out there, you got to cover them. And if you go ahead and you go cover 0, and the running back is going scat protection. What's scat? Remember I told you what scat protection was? That's 6-man protection. That's 5 offensive linemen and the running back. So it makes it scat, right? Scat equals 6. I can't go right there. There you go. There we go. All right, so let's start this baby off right here. I think I cut you a little short. That's all right. Go ahead and we'll look at it a couple times here. Let's see what we got. We got an interception. Now, look at this here. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys coming. 6 players coming. You only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. Okay, what do you got to do? Well, you got to bring the heat. And what do you see, man? You see that someone's going to get through. Someone's going to put pressure on there. Because if you can keep a quarterback fading back, you don't have to sack them. You don't have to sack, but you got to have someone in your face. I remember the games that Tom Brady got shut down. There's always someone, always a defender in his face. Even Tom Brady would be stopped when that happened. It didn't happen very often, but we know that when it did happen, even he was mortal, a mere mortal. You get the pick. Check it out. This is it. This is bringing the heat, man. And you know what's great about it? You can see right here, number 14 coming through here against the Arizona Wildcats. But, man, we got one guy's coming through. The other guy, look at the defensive lineman here. What's he doing? Number 93 here. He's going ahead. There's a 92. I can't tell. He's got his shirt tucked. But he's acting like he's going, so he draws the attention of the center. So that number 14 can go swinging through and be a part of that. So that's what you got to love is how are you playing these games? So coverage zero is more than, well, we're bringing 6 guys. No, we're bringing 6 guys, and we're going to confuse you, and we're going to disguise it before you do that because you're a young quarterback, and we want to bring everything out so that we can just totally screw you up. And that's what they want to do. And that's what I would do. And that's what I tried to do when I was a defensive coordinator. If I had a guy that's not as experienced, or if I had an offensive line. But regardless, you still want to get in the quarterback's pace. I was always kind of a gambler myself. And sometimes you can get burned on that now because you got corners and safeties on islands by themselves covering those receivers. So you got to be careful. Remember, Gibby, the gambler, I used to say in the network, Gibby the gambler, man. He beat Baylor that year, man, at West Virginia, that year that they were undefeated. And he beat it all because Gibby was the gambler, and he made him throw off the back foot. And I can't think of the quarterback's name right off the top, but he was an excellent college quarterback. Now watch it here. Look at 44. You see it? He's taking the P gap, all right? Right, look at the P gap. Look at the nose guard, either 92 or 93, whatever his number is, and he's occupying the center. So now you got the 44 occupying the right guard, and then you have 92 nose guard occupying the center. There's a hole there. That's what you want to do. You want to get 3 guys and have them being forced into. You can go ahead and take up those 2. You only have 1 gap and 2 guys that can do it unless you got a running back coming up the middle. But here you go. Look at this. Right there. Look at that. So the nose guard's not even rushing. He just occupied the center, got him out of the way, so 14 can run through. That is an excellent blitz, and then you have the outside pressure. Bring in 6, man. There's an art to bring in 6, cover 0. There's an art to it, and we're going to show it here. Now, look at this. Look at my arrows, right? It's like, we're saying, well, that could be, looks like zone because the defender on number 3 receiver, right? You go outside receivers number 1 at the bottom, so then you got 2 and then 3. So the defender is really in and out playing half and half with the 3rd receiver. Not sure if it's zone or man, but look at the free safety at the top. Is that man free? So if you're thinking it's man anyways, is that man free? Well, no, because all he's doing is acting like it's either cover 3, it's man free, but no, this is really cover 0. See, that's the beauty. Hiding, hey, it's a game of chess, right? You're disguising, what's your move next? Yeah, well, here's their move coming through. Check it out. And he's on it right there, and his man covers. Cover 0 man. And bringing the heat. That's what I think West Virginia is going to see. So you better have those running backs ready. You better have the tight ends ready to stay in at times. You got to mix and match. You got to release the tight ends. You got to keep them in. It's all part of the game. But again, you can see the arrows coming through. What happens? It's a delayed blitz, and we'll see the end zone shot here, which is I really like this. And you got to watch your angles too now. Got to watch the angles of what's going on. So check it out. Here we go. Here comes the blitz. Now look at this. So the running back is going to take the open dude, right? Because you like middle linebacker. What doesn't happen, what you don't want is release. How many times have you seen in the last year or two, all right, that I think that Mountaineers really got to clean up, that you saw a defensive lineman come through first before, and you see a lineman taking a linebacker. Can't have that. You got to secure the first level. That's the defensive line. Then the running back or the quarterback, whoever it is, the quarterback's got to know who's coming free, has to go ahead and account for anyone off the line of scrimmage, unless it's coming on the outside. But again, you see the running back here. So the lineman are right. The lineman take the defensive lineman. That's good. And let the running back, because you don't want to see a running back take a defensive lineman on a 3-yard run because the weight difference is difficult. So a good block there, but look, here comes the delayed blitz. There you go. So not only did you split the gap and bring a linebacker, so it covered up all that they could have, and now you have just a slight delay to go ahead and bring in the pressure, which obviously the pocket is collapsing. This guy actually takes a bad angle on the blitz, but they get the quarterback anyways because it's cover 0, and you're pinning your ears back and you're coming after him. Here we go. It's pretty, man. Pretty. I like that a lot, man. Bad play in that number 37 defender. I don't like it. I want someone better. I want a blitzer. See, here's the thing, too. And Jeff Castillo always told me this, and I really never thought about it until he did tell me, is that there are natural blitzers, and then there are unnatural blitzers. You got to have the knack. So when you're on defense and you're looking at your defensive personnel, you got to find that dude, Bruce Irvin, or you know what I mean, that can get the set. Somebody, that can go ahead and get in there and be a part of the blitz. It was a really an excellent Reed. Okay, Reed was the linebacker. Reed Williams is really a good blitzer, man. Like, he had a knack. He knew where to go. He's always smart, very intelligent linebacker play. Always like Reed Williams and how he played that, because always knew where to be and he knew how to work the blitz. Again, so much more than just bringing 6, man. Bringing 6 is about knowing how to bring the 6, how to be different. I'm trying to show you different blitzes right here so you understand. Now look at this, all right? So now you're going to have 3 defensive linemen and 2 outside backers, right? This is kind of a delayed blitz. So you're going to have 3 defensive linemen attack, and then the 2 outside guys are going to be like waiting, a little patience, and check it out here. It's pretty cool. Again, it's cover 0. Look at the secondary. You're going, it's man coverage. Look at that. You see the safety coming over there. Now, watch the linebacker. Oh, guess what? There's the split. There's the C. Now, those are the lanes that you want to see with what? Those are the lanes that you want to see a quarterback run on. That's what you think about. You're like, well, hey, if Penn State go ahead and blitzes right there and they want to do that, well, look at this. This is just running 3 in the lane split, and now you have 2 guys on the outside coming in underneath. That's the game you got. Now, where's the quarterback going to go, right? Because you think you got those lanes, and then all of a sudden, no, they're not coming on the outside because you're going to have the 2 defensive linemen take it to the outside. So they got contained. Now you started bringing underneath. Very, very excellent. I'm impressed by it. I really am. And we'll go ahead and we'll keep looking at this play because I like it. It's a delay. Check it out. It is a delay. And what does it do? It causes problems. There you go. It is Problem City. That's problems. What's here? Look at my circle. Look at my circles. I spent time doing those circles. You better enjoy them. There you go. Look at that. Sack, baby. Again, watch it. So now you think you got 2 outside rushers. Again. And then what happens is, this is like almost like a Steeler line. You see that 4-eye on that tackle? Right next to the circle there, and then a head up on the other tackle. That's like that Steeler I was talking about. But you're seeing here, obviously this is 3rd and long here, so it doesn't matter because they don't have anyone in the backfield because it's empty backfield. But watch, I mean, you got it. This is tight, man. It's a delay, and it's look at the tackle, 65 the right tackle. He's expecting the outside guy to come. He's on his keister right now. There you go. Look, that's cover 0. That's smart 0. And that's what you got to be able to defend. And that's what, obviously, WVU. Okay, here we go. Disguise, right? Once again, I'm looking at it. Where's he at? Okay, so he's over there. Am I sure? Does he look like he's pushing? Well, I'll tell you what. You're inside the red zone for the 25-yard. I call the red zone really the 20 in. A lot of guys or coaches now seem to say 25 in. But regardless, doesn't matter. But again, if you get in the red zone, you got to expect there's got to be some type of blitzing. Here, it looks like it's man-free because you got the safety over the top. So what's the pre-snap read? I'm thinking it's man-free or maybe a cover 3 or something like that. But you can also see that there's 5 guys lining up to rush. Now, you had that same kind of formation right there, and you had the 3 defensive linemen and 2 outside backers. What's going to happen? Well, they're going to come, but someone from the outside. So that outside backer up top towards the numbers goes on the inside. Why? Because they want gap assignment. Fundamental gap alignment, right? That's what we've been talking about the last couple of days. I know you're learning a lot here, man, because it's so cool that football is the greatest game in the world, and it's contagious. And watch that. So we'll see the end zone shot. He gets the sack here, coming around the edge, because look at it, he turns his back. He thinks right there, this guy is going to be in coverage. Guess what? This guy's on coverage. Look at that end coming down. Oh, and you'll see, and you have the other end just playing delay, trying to look for and see this delay run. Check this out. You can see it. Look at my circle. Fancy. Right there. Coming at you. Oh, you got to love it. That is beautiful. That's what you say. Hey, that's check. Right? You're in there. Checkmate, all that stuff. There you go. That's how you draw it up. X to the nose, baby. That's football at its best. Bringing the heat. Nothing hurts a quarterback, especially later on, than that. Nothing hurt. They remember that. They remember. They get hit like that all day long. Boy, the fourth quarter, whoo, that arm's getting real short. A quick release. They have an internal clock going then. You start doing that. Start lining it up. I love blitzing. I love cover 0. You got to sit there. You just got to say, what's up? That's a great pass right here by, interception here by the dude. But again, look at the quarterback. He's throwing off his back foot. This is just bringing the heat. Just simply bringing the heat. You can see right here, he's taking it away the inside. He should be, but he gets it. That's a bad throw. I didn't even see that before. That's a bad throw by that quarterback. You know why it's a bad throw by that quarterback? Watch his back foot. That's right. That pick there. There you go. Watch him. See that? 21, my circle. Look, he's not set feet. He's leaning backwards. Look at his feet. That's why you got to pick. That's not even a good play by the DB. Well, it's a nice catch anyways, but that's a bad throw. But it's because it's a bad throw. Why? Because pressure's coming, baby. You got 6. Even if he knows it, even if you got 5 blockers and everybody else is out, right there you have it. And he's like, I see you coming, man. Guess what he's doing? Woo-hoo. I'm leaning backwards. My feet aren't planted. You got to have a tough dude in there. That's why quarterback's got to be the toughest dude on your team just as much as anybody else. That's why you can't have a soft quarterback. Can't do it. All right, here we go. Now watch this linebacker, the one not on the hash, the one that's above my circle's a little off right there. But here we go. It looked good at the time, but you see him, he's coming in. A little delay there, the rush, but we get an interception. And I put this on here just again because, once again, it's putting pressure on. And you can see one guy's lined up taking the tight end right here because you don't know who's coming. That's the thing. You bring up 6. They call it a mesh, right? A muddle or mesh, whatever you want to call it. And there's 6 guys in the line of scrimmage. Some guys may rush. You might get all the rush. You might get what? Maybe 3. Everybody else drops off. One guy's going to tight end, just head up like that. That's what you don't know. And that's why you got to keep changing it up. And that's the key. Again, you got to have a plan with cover 0. You just can't bring 6 and say, we're just going to do it. You got to change it up and keep them thinking here. Again, watch this right here. So you see it. You got guys coming in, right? Going there. He's feeling the pressure. He throws it short because the cornerback jumps on it. And putting the pressure on him. And he gets to pick 6. All right, big deal. We see that. There we go. All right. Too late. I say Michael. I'm not sure if we call this a Mike call, but you can't. It's too late when this happens, to count the guys about how you're blocking. So, the mic call is when you're in the run game and you count over and like your guy, you know what you're getting at and point out the play. But again, when you start moving this here, and that's what happens with a lot when you put the safeties in the safeties, you see them off the box, outside the box, and then all of a sudden they come in because the offensive lineman, the center, he can't count it. He can't set, and the quarterback, they can't set the pass protection because you're not counting that safety. Or here, when you have a shift over here, it's tough when you make that type of alignment call. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to bring it. Let's see this here in the next play because you're going to see some funky stuff going on. It's pretty good, I think. Right there. So the shift is over. Offensive lineman is coming up. Who's coming in? Nice. The pressure is on, man. And the sack is there. The cave. I call that the cave. Watch it. Oh, watch this. This is good. Now, you're going to have the nose guard is going to shift over. Here we go. I know it's going to. I've seen that. Oh, there we go. He's coming up. Look at 48. It's a twist. All that is a nose tackle twist. Nothing big deal. But look, watch number 8. There's blitzing in from the weak side backer, right? And then you're going to have it. So watch the running back. This is scat protection. 6-man protection. Scat protection. Watch the running back. He's going with the offensive lineman. Oh, look at 23. He's an actor. He's an actor. Because the other guy's drawing the two, the offensive lineman and the running back. Look what happens. Because then you got the other guy going for the tackle who did the twist. And now you got the nose guard, number 23. Nice nose guard number, by the way. But regardless, got 23. Oh, hello, sir. Mr. Quarterback, nice to meet you. My name is 23. Watch it again. Here you go. Slow motion. There you go. Look at the twist. But watch it. Bring an 8 with it. So now you got 3 on 3. But how are you bringing that 3? How are you bringing it? Are you doing it just straight on? Or are you trying to do 4 and 3, which we're going to see here shortly? How are you doing this right here? And that's what you get. A little bit of twist, a little bit of over here. And then you got 2 that sucker into it because they draw the attention. And then you're the actor there hanging up a little bit. And then, boom, you get a sack. Not bad. You got to like that. I mean, that again, you are basically outsmarting, outwitting the offense there on that play. Everything's happening very fast. Okay, so now you're showing. Now you're bringing. Wait, what happens? You got four gentlemen, 4 players, right? I don't call them gentlemen because they look like beasts, right? And then you got 2 outside players. So looks like you're bringing 6. But you got 4 really tight together, and they're showing. You know that they're coming, or you at least think that they're coming, right? Because they're lined up that way. They're showing it. And, okay, so, again, now you're getting this right here. You're getting 6. Oh, look at that. You got a backer coming in. You're bringing the kitchen sink, baby, right here. Look at that coming out. Oh, you got to love this, man. The heat is on. Showing it. We're coming right down your throat. And guess what? We don't care if you see it. And we're going to bring the kitchen sink. The offensive line, we get jacked. Oh, that was beautiful. And come on, you got no chance. You know, you'd be better off if you just try to roll all play there. It's like, can I beat the outside contain? I don't know. If you're a fast quarterback, you might be able to. Bringing 7, you're outnumbering it right here. And watch. So they all walk it up, and you're going to see the linebacker 19 coming. This is beautiful. Watch how they do this. All right, look, they are going after you got 4 on 3. You got 4 on 3 players, and then you're asking, the running back to get in there. But again, you got the offensive lineman and running back who's chopping it. That's illegal, by the way. That's kind of sissy there by the running back. I don't like that block. That's bad for the defense right there. So, again, but look at that. He's bringing it, man. There's the heat. Oh, you got to. Here we come. We're coming. Guess what? It doesn't matter. We're coming. We're going to get you. Open the floodgates, man, because here we come, baby. Oh, man, if you don't love that, that's cover 0 right there. And I got more tape on that. But that's pretty good for it. Let's end the day like that. What else we got here? We got anybody that wants to get out here? Pretty good. Let me see here. You got USC's my bad. Let's see. Cincinnati, 42-9 over that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think they'll definitely be a little better than people think. Okay. So here we go. I don't see anybody. I'm waiting right now. Do you want to get in here? There you go. Do you want to get in? If you do, let me see if you got something to say. I'll even sit there. I'll drop a link right here. I have what, 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Let's drop the link. Drop the link. Well, hey, was that fun? I think that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed the Penn State, Tim Ayden, and obviously Tony Altimore. So full of knowledge. He just drops it on there, and I think that's pretty sharp. He's pretty sharp, but Tim's sharp. Penn State. Next week we're going to have some cool dudes on as well. Jeff Colhane next Thursday, a week from today, is coming on. He's the play-by-play now for Florida State. He's going to break down Florida State for us. My brother, he was on the network here at WVU with me for at least 4 years before Danny Grille came along. Cully went up to North Dakota State, and now he's there at Florida State. Can't wait for that. I got a lot of hope for a lot of other people coming on the show. We want to bring in, hopefully bring Jay Paterno back, talk about Penn State. He was there for 16 years with his dad coaching. And then Tom Bradley, who coached at West Virginia for a season. And Penn State, he was there for 30-plus years, 20-some years as defensive coordinator. So he's going to come on and we do that show, Pigskin Stew, on Pittsburgh ESPN Radio, 970. We do it every Thursday at 6. And that was really a Pigskin Stew, a really great show. They do all the coverings they did in the radio, and then they cover West Virginia with me. They cover Pitt, and they cover Penn State. So pretty broad, expansive show. I think they do a great job. They're Coach Bradley, Coach Paterno. And let's see what else. Anybody else? I dropped the link. If you want to come on, now's the time to come on. If you don't want to come on, now's the time to not come on. I'll tell you, I'm on fire today, man. I'm ready. I wish I could come back tomorrow. But remember this, okay? Let's go ahead and finish off with this. If no one else is going to come on, I will do this here. Let me go. Let's pick this up. Let's find it here, man. Get that. There we go, the pallet. Okay, y'all see it right here. This here, again, pregame show, WVU versus Penn State. It's September 2nd. I guess, we'll start at 5 to 7:30. We go live on air for the network only, for the restaurants. If your place isn't a part of the WolfMan's Call network, and that's where you're going to be for Penn State, and you want to see the film breakdown, and you want to see, the guests, so serious pregame. I'm only going to do it one time. I'm only doing it one time. And, because on every other Friday, I'll be releasing it and doing my opponent breakdowns of film. But this right here is at the Pallet, and it's at the network, the WolfMan's Call network, and it's also going to be on the Voice of College Football's West Virginia network. Again, all right, so that's September 2nd. We'll keep going with that. It's the one time, it's an in-house show, basically, because it's closed off. Join Voice of College Football. I told you how to subscribe. Go to YouTube, go in the search column there, go to West Virginia, at West Virginia, the at thing, the A, right? The at thing, at West Virginia, Voice of College Football, which is VOCFB. West Virginia and Voice of College Football, VOCFB. Okay, I'm stalling to see if anybody wants to jump on, and I'm not seeing it. So we had a lot of talk, a lot of people here. Where are you, Timothy Green? Where are you? Where's Kenny at? Where's Kenny at? Where's Joey at? Anyone? All right. 153.39. Boy, I tell you what, I'm having a lot of fun doing these shows here, talking football. We're just getting started. We are just bringing in all my brothers from West Virginia, bringing in dudes that have knowledge, that can drop knowledge on you, like a Tony Altimore, like that. I mean, just like yesterday, Twisted Rooster, even Talk Is Pet, right? Even that, you got to know what's going on around you. You got to know who your opponents are. And if you really want to be educated in the game, and with that, go ahead and bring film breakdown, because no one else is bringing film breakdown. No one else has got the cojones to stand up there and say, this is the way it is. Okay, this is what you do. This is what's good. This is what's not so good. This is what you need to get better at. Again, it's called constructive criticism. It's not ripping. It's called constructive criticism. And I'll be honest with you, name, image, likeness, man, all that. Well, you're not so much an amateur anymore now, are you? Going to go ahead and you're going to take that money, going to benefit off your name, image, likeness. Well, then, standards got to be up there. So with that being said, everybody's open to constructive criticism. I don't sit there and rip. I don't go below the belt. I don't do that. But what I will do is tell you the truth, because the Wolfman's Call is always about the truth, the part of the call. And what I say is what I mean. And sometimes I may be wrong. I'll tell you, football, I'm not wrong a lot, because I've studied it as a lifetime. I've studied it. I've been around it, been around the top dogs a long, long time. Been a coach, been in broadcast, did it all, man. Really, just been around, know the people. And what I try to give to you is just simple. I don't want to bore you. I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but I want you to be educated so you can make good choices and good talk when you're talking, so that you can sound like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about football. I think it's important. I think Mountaineer Nation needs to be educated and smart, especially now when things are a little bit gray. No one really knows the future. And a smart football team, a smart basketball team, a smart university, a university that's successful, a university that's winning, a fan base that knows what's going on, helps in the process. That hurts. That hurts the process. A fan base that is educated, that understands where you got to go, where you got to raise up. All those things matter. They all matter. And for the future success of West Virginia, WVU that I see, it has to matter. And we have to really do better. Honestly, it's simple truth. We have to do better. All right. Well, that's it, folks. Nobody wants to come on. I dropped the link in there. So we're going to close it out. It's Thursday. That means we'll be back on Monday. Got a lot going on. Frank Fair, I'm sure, is going to be coming back with us. So we'll get the crew together. Daryl Prue, WVU Hoops Hall of Fame. I got something for Daryl. I know that on Monday he wants to talk transfer portal a little bit, show you an incredible stat, which I will save for DP. And we'll go ahead and get him on. Hall of Fame strength coach Al Johnson. Hopefully he's going to join us. And maybe a Hawkeye, who knows? Maybe a man named Reno, maybe the Ranger, or maybe someone else. All right. Got something new for you. We took out Traylon Davis here. I've been having him for 2 months here. Closed it off. And I thought, let's go with this. How about Zach Frazier? All-American. Mr. Lombardi Awards watch list. Mr. This, Mr. That. Yeah, Zach Frazier at Fairmont. Let's go, brother. Parmar Stores, NIO. Northern Eagle Distributing. Yeah, baby. We love it. And, of course, you got all that. Arson Grange Company. You got that with United, West Virginia, United. I mean, all good. Got all the great people. Power batteries, man. It doesn't get much better. Everybody, have a blessed day. Have a blessed day tomorrow, Friday. Have a great, wonderful weekend. Just hit the right button.
Hi, I'm Zach Frazier from Fairmont. When I'm back home, you'll find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that gold and blue pride at your local Parmar store. We are coming to your neighborhood soon. West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, we have you covered. Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Food, gas, groceries, and more. We are gold and blue proud, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Northern Eagle Distributing, proudly serving Anheuser-Busch products to West Virginia. Stationers, #1 office supplier in West Virginia, always in stock. How many? The anywhere, anytime chargers, powering a connected world. Never buy AA batteries again. Rechargeable 500 times plus. Paul Mini AA USB lithium battery, as easy to charge as your cell phone. Sustainable energy, stay charged. Go green, save green. Feel the power of Paul. Order now at paulmini.com.
West Virginia United.